Hello again to this video clip series, my journey to God in a very secularized world. We're going through the second meditation of Padre Larac with the title that you can also find on the internet, The Progressive Protestantization of the Catholic Mass. And he finished by saying we can't be too cocky to judge too quick here, even though we think we might have it all know the truth. And he continues here, he says, so each of us shall give account of himself to God. Then let us no more pass judgment on one another, but rather decide never to put a stumbling block or hindrance in the way of a brother. We who are strong ought to bear with the failings of the weak, and not to please ourselves. Let each of us please his neighbor for his good, to edify him. For Christ did not please himself, but as it is written, the reproaches of those who reproached thee fell on me. That's from Romans 14:10 to 15. He continues here, he says, I think it would be better to endure in silence the insults of those who expel us from the synagogues and will drag our name through the mire, thinking they are offering service to God, while we will not deserve anything of all these things. Let us remember that Our Lady had specifically asked Don Stefano, pray, suffer, offer, be silent. And then he continues here, the words from Jesus, who said, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who abuse you. Blessed are you when men revile you and persecute you, and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For so men persecuted the prophets who were before you. Matthew 5:11-12. And Our Lady then says, a message from Our Lady says, with the little ones, I am attaining each day my victory over Satan and his powerful army of evil, over the satanic and Masonic forces organized against God, because I am leading my children along the road of heroic faith, of sure hope, and of perfect love. Message September 8th, 94. And then Padre Larac continues, says, live the three theological virtues. Live the faith in Jesus and the commandments of God. Nothing could be simpler, but nothing more difficult in our time. For this reason, those who do not consecrate themselves and live their consecration to the Immaculate Heart of Mary will not resist in front of the strong current of apostasy and general rebellion against God and His Christ. He continues here, so I begin again from the message of June 17th, 89, to go to the roots of our modern ills, which will bloom into the mystery of the Antichrist, rationalism, Protestantism, subjectivism, relativism, liberalism, and false ecumenism. And all this will blossom into the greatest global and absolute totalitarianism of history, under the guidance of the false prophet par excellence, the Antichrist himself. I repeat that I do not know who he is, and I do not want to name names, and a mystery before of which it is better to say I do not see, and I humbly ask the light, more light, instead of saying I see and I condemn. That said, I sincerely think that everyone is ready now for the appearance in our world of this figure of the false prophet par excellence, as Revelation 13:11 calls him, or better, seeing the Antichrist as a figure like a lamb. The book of Revelation calls the Antichrist the false prophet. It does not call him the Antichrist. To give rather one of his principal characteristics, he will be a false prophet. He will seem sweet and inoffensive like a lamb. What did Jesus say on this point about the false prophets? Did he say, you will know the tree by its leaves, that is, by his words? No. Words can appear very good, You'll know him by his fruits. That is the facts. Bad fruits, bad tree. For example, Marxism has produced millions and millions of deaths. Perhaps this should be enough now to stop believing in this false messianism. After so many nice false words and doctrines for the salvation of the poor. But yet, many people still promote this false Messiah of death. And so, it will be like this for the Messiah, who will, the false Messiah, who will propose now the organized world as one united force against God and against the true and only Messiah of God, Jesus the Messiah, Jesus Christ. He will be a lamb who, under the disguise of the so-called universal fraternity, will lead many millions to death. And I want to speak here especially about focal point of all this deceit, which will be the apostasy of the truth, Jesus in the Eucharist. Thus, I return to my starting point, the message of December 31, 92, the fourth sign of the end times, the abomination of desolation. What does it mean in this secular sphere? Epochal, as Father Ivan said, the Protestantization, the Mass. The Protestantization, progressive of the Mass, is a way to reduce the Mass to the remembrance of the Lord's Supper on Holy Thursday, as do the Protestants, without any dimension of Good Friday. Now the Mass is the great mystery that includes the whole Paschal of the Lord, not only the memory of the institution of the Eucharist. O Sacrum Convivium, the Church sings with this anthem composed by St. Thomas Aquinas. O Sacrum Convivium, in quo Christus sumitur recollitur, memoriae passionis eius, mens impletur, gratiae future gloriae nobis pignus datur. O sacred banquet in which assimilates the Christ, it makes memory of his passion past. Our spirit is filled with grace present, and there is the pledge, the first fruits of future glory, future. And then he continues, or still, as we say after the consecration, adoring and acclaiming Jesus, really present here. It is great, the mystery of faith. We proclaim your death, the past, O Jesus. We celebrate your resurrection, present, waiting until for your second coming in glory, future. This distinction between past, present, and future is only for our human understanding, because in fact, in the mystery of the Eucharist, there is the whole mystery of Easter, the whole past of the sacrifice, of the grace of the resurrection, and all the glory to come one day. Everything is present in the mystery that is here, before us. In reality, there is no past or future. The whole Christ is here before us. All the mystery of God is present in the mystery of Christ, and the whole mystery of Christ is present in the Eucharist, his entire life in all his mysteries. This is why we celebrate Mass for Christmas, as for Easter, as for all the moments of the liturgical year. His whole death on the cross is present, his whole resurrection and all his future glory, although still hidden from our eyes. The progressive Protestantism of the Mass, with its philosophical antecedents of rationalism, of subjectivism, of relativism, sicknesses of the spirit which have poisoned all of us, even if we do not realize it, flattens the whole mystery, and he draws near to us not as a great apocalyptic beast, but, and the book of Revelation says, 13:11, under the guise of an inoffensive lamb. Jesus already told us, Matthew 7:15, and St. Paul repeats to us in his Testament, Acts 20:29. The false prophet draws near under the cloak and face of a lamb, but it is only a mask. Behind there is a wolf. He and others, as Mary tells us, will do everything to destroy the church. May God bless you and Mary guide you.